Good?
Yep.
All right. All good, Matt?
Yeah,
Unmuted.
Zoom, yeah.
All right, everybody, I will call the October 16th Select Board meeting to order. Tonight's being broadcast on RCTV and recorded on Zoom as well. The first item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So the overview of the meeting is super brief. It's discuss and vote on trash and recycling contract. So I'll just take attendance because Karen Rose Gillis I see is remote. So Karen,
Here.
is anyone else on Zoom, Matt?
Not that I see.
All right, Carlo,
Yes, here.
Melissa?
Here.
And Chris is here. All right, so discuss and vote on the trash and recycling contract. We had a long discussion about this last meeting. Chris is here again. Hopefully not again. See how
So thank you for having us here again tonight. Just want to apologize to the board first for the late change to the packet. When I was reviewing it tonight, while the summary table was correct with all the numbers, for some reason Republic's old proposal was still in the packet. They went from October 3rd, so we replaced it with the correct one from October 9th. So that was the only change. But what we did see for revised pricing, Waste Management gave us pricing which incorporated adding one bulk item to the trash, and Public Services gave us pricing options, adding pricing for weekly recycling. And then Waste Management also lowered their burnable bulky item from 35 down to 30. Maddie, do you want to put the packet up on the screen? And we'll start with
and if I could real quick,
yeah, sure.
Karen Rose Gillis, can you hear Chris at the podium? Perfect.
I can.
All right,
I
excellent.
can.
Just making sure.
Thank you.
Speak more to the mic, Chris.
Yeah, I just turned the microphone on.
Okay, that'll help too. So, good.
Let's see. So Maddie, if we could maybe go to page 19. So you can see the summary chart in your packet there with the revised pricing. Then I just wanted to provide the board with a few points to consider when you're looking at, who the next vendor should be for this contract. So we do have three representatives here from Republic here with us in the room, and I believe Ed Pazak is on Zoom from Waste Management. So just as related to service collection methodology, so Republic proposes to service all the dumpsters, the bulk items, and residential collection with the same two trucks, essentially as they're doing now. So these trucks, they're referred to as Corrado trucks, meaning they have a container in the front of the truck. It looks like a dumpster. And with a mechanical arm coming off the side that would still pull up to all the residential properties, and the arm would come out, capture the cart and dump it into this container. And then after a few houses, the driver would have to dump the entire container into the back of the truck. All bulk items would be picked up with these same trucks. When it came to servicing dumpsters, the trucks would then have to go to some place and detach the container off the front, probably like the DPW garage, so they could then go service all the dumpsters. So all of the trash and everything would be still from all the dumpsters and the curbside would still be going into these same trucks. Waste Management, on the other hand, would provide 2 dedicated trash trucks just for the residential. All the dumpsters would be emptied via separate trucks on a commercial route, And that is why all of the disposal costs are incorporated into their dumpster costs, because you're going to be having, where it's on a commercial route, you could be having trash from other communities that's in these commercial trucks, and be no way to segregate what the tonnage was just for Reading. And bulk items with waste management will be collected on a separate day by a dedicated bulk collection truck. So this would mean that Republic's trucks might fill up faster and require more frequent trips to ReWorld than what waste management would be able to do, which could lead to more missed pickups and a potentially lower level of service for the town's residents. As far as customer service goes, while Republic may provide minimal cost savings over the life of the contract, I would be remiss to, mention, the issues that we've had with Republic, over the years. And you'll see some of that represented on the chart on the next page that I'll show you in a minute.
Could I ask a real quick follow-up? Because you mentioned something regarding the bulky item, and I didn't actually take this into consideration. So you're saying that in waste management and Republic's thing, if we went with bulky, Republic is picking it up the same day, but waste management might be a completely separate day.
Yes, waste management would schedule it and probably do all their bulk pickups on a certain day of the week.
So different than it currently is. Like currently we can leave out on our trash day.
Correct.
So you're saying it might be Friday for everybody.
Correct.
Or whatever random day. And Republic would still be the same day?
Yes.
Okay.
Because it would be serviced by the same trucks as the
All right.
regular curbside.
Can we ask a question?
Yeah, on this section, only because I didn't want to miss that and it seemed kind of important.
All right, I have a question in this section. Sorry. I have a question on this first section, service collection. You just said might fill up, and in these words it said would fill up. So I guess Republic is here. Is this an issue currently?
No.
So why is it mentioned in here?
Well, I was only mentioning that because all of the dumpsters, curbside and bulk, would be collected in the same truck versus waste management would be having a dedicated truck solely for the residential.
Right. But you're making it sound like this is it sounds like the way I read this is that even though we have them now, it's not a problem. It will become a problem if we're not adding 3,000 homes to the town. So
Well, all I was saying is there's going to be frequent trips to ReWorld with waste management because the trucks are going to be only collecting the curbside trash versus Republic's trucks would be going to do dumpsters as well. So there would be more trips to ReWorld with Republic's trucks.
but why is that our problem?
Because it would cause more delay with getting back to do the residential routes for the Republic trucks.
No, I get that part, but is it a problem now?
No, but it would be a more efficient operation with waste management is what I'm getting at.
Okay, it's just a little bit misleading towards Republic. And again, given Trash Gate and Transition Gate and all the gates we had, it doesn't really sit well, but they've seemed to recover from that. So
I was just meaning it would be a more efficient operation with waste management.
No, I get that, but the way this reads, it sounds like you're dissing Republic. That's all. This is my opinion only, that you read this like, oh, Republic is, if we renew with them, it's not going to be as efficient or it's not going to be good. Compared to waste management, I understand the efficiency part, but aside from a missed pickup every now and then, which is going to happen with anybody, I'd imagine, because things happen. I just don't like the way this is worded, that's all.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, Jane.
may I respond to that in part? Your point's well taken. Thank you very much. There is a history with Republic of missed pickups, and everybody knows that. Part of the issue is it's not the Republic issue necessarily as it is ReWorld backs up. There's been a long history of ReWorld backing up with trucks backing up there and them not, it takes a long time to get through. So if the truck is full and they go to ReWorld and there's a long line, not everybody gets through and they can't always make it back into the town, so they pick up the next day.
So that.
So that's
makes more
the
sense.
operational explanation.
Yeah,
Is that- okay.
So I was under the impression that the missed pickups were happening just because they ran out of time or forgot or
No,
it
not
was snowy, but it turns out some of them might have been
Sometimes.
because it was backed up.
right. A lot of it is ReWorld is the only incinerator in the area, and it's very, very busy, and the volume is such that the trucks trying to get through, backing up at ReWorld is a real issue for any municipality or
Yeah,
any
yeah,
company.
and-
So that's why we see this operational difference as significant. So it's not a diss toward Republic, it's just an operational difference that we want you to look at.
Yep, Melissa.
Just a clarifying question. Does Republic currently service our dumpsters?
Yes.
They do. Okay. So the question I had is, I know on waste management, we deducted the ReWorld costs. Did we add that to Republic's number? Because we're still gonna have to pay ReWorld, correct?
Correct, but Republic's number is the actual number when you total up their prices. What I did with Waste Management's price is from what their total price comes to, I deducted the savings that we would see by not having to pay ReWorld from that.
Yeah, but, so, correct me if I'm misunderstanding you. So Republic's numbers that are on this sheet on page 3, do those numbers include what we will have to pay as a town to ReWorld?
No,
Okay, so that would be an additional cost, where waste management, we don't have that additional cost. Okay, I just wanted to make sure I understood that correctly.
correct.
Okay,
And what's the cost?
It's about $122,000 savings
Annually.
annually, yeah.
So I guess knowing that, why isn't that on here that we pay 122,000 more? Or is it on the chart? Because when I see like
It is.
10 million, 13 million, is it included?
Well, it is, if you look in the back of your packets, there's a breakdown of how we got to those prices. And
page
on the
23.
waste management breakdown, you can see on the bottom there how I
Deduction, yeah.
deducted the cost for ReWorld disposal and for the recycling processing costs.
But on the Republic piece, it's not noted that we will still have to pay ReWorld and what that cost is gonna be. And I think that's important for everyone to realize that there is an additional cost that will come with that, which is like 120.
Yeah, I mean, if you wanted to look at it that way, you could add 122,000,
Yeah,
to that price.
well, it's
for-
122 plus some processing fee, correct?
Yeah, 126,000 on Republic's proposal, if you want to look at it.
So I guess I'm still confused. On page
600 grand.
On page 23, the bottom dollar is 1,976,000. And then on page 24, it's 1,872,000. So axing everything, everyone always wants to pay the lowest, but it turns out that's not the lowest. We have to add 112 to that?
No, the 1,872,000 is Republic.
Correct.
The 1,976,000 is Waste Management.
Correct. But do we add 122 to the 1,872?
Yeah, if you want to think of it that way, yeah, because we're still going to have to pay.
Then you would not take off the disposal on the waste management side. It's normalized toward the Republic contract.
Well, we can't do that though, because this chart, I see what you're saying, but you can't do that because this chart took those numbers off for waste management already. So it's kind of deceiving. Because the numbers are deducted on this side, but we don't have the addition for Republic on this side. So it's kind of deceiving what the numbers really are.
Did you have a comment, I guess? I forgot, what was your name again? Oh, Dan? Yeah, if you just want to come up and just clarify, because I guess I'm still confused as well.
Dan Higgins, Republic Services, 385 Dunstable Road, Tingsboro. Yeah, I believe the original bid from Waste Management included disposal. They included the disposal of the cans. And because their numbers included the disposal, and, the town has a separate contract for disposal, staff has reduced the disposal from their price. Because you're currently paying it as part of your disposal contract and they're going to absorb those costs. the bid specs were for collection only, no disposal. We bid no disposal. So you're paying Covanta a certain amount per year for disposal. And our numbers don't reflect that, so there's nothing to add in. Republic's case, in Waste Management's case, you're paying a certain amount to Waste Management. You're going to deduct that amount because they're going to be paying it. So you're going to pay them, you're going to be paying them more for that.
Okay.
So if so the price here does not reflect the disposal. It reflects the disposal that you're going to pay to them, not Covanta. So it nets out to you, but you're still going to pay Covanta 100% with our proposal. So to me, my understanding would be inappropriate to add disposal to our collection bid, because you're paying for each ton once.
I would agree.
In our scenario, you're paying for each ton once to Covanta. In the Waste Management scenario, you're paying part of it to Covanta and part of it to Waste Management. The same number of tons.
Okay.
Does that make sense, Matt?
But then how can we deduct it from what we're seeing on waste management?
Because we're not paying it twice. We're not paying Covanta we're not paying Covanta twice, right? So there's a redundancy in the waste management contract, because they're saying they're gonna pay the disposal on what they take for just the dumpsters. So we are reducing what we estimate that amount to be out. And that is an apples to apples comparison with Republic's proposal, because we will be paying for anything that goes to Covanta. We just pay it to Covanta based on weight.
So the 1976 compared to the 1872 is apples to apples or not?
Yes.
Yes.
It would not be apples to apples to add on an additional fund to
Okay,
Republic.
that's what I think we have to clarify.
That's why we normalize these numbers to take out that redundant payment that you would see to Covanta. Is that fair to my team?
But what I heard, all right, so on the back end, that happened. But I just heard Chris say a few minutes ago, add the 126,000 to the bill. Did I mishear that?
Well, because that's what you were talking about, and if you wanted to think of it that way, you could have, but really to compare apples to apples, you wouldn't.
No, you would want to add the thing back into the waste management one if you were thinking of it that way.
So even though it might not make sense to us to a point, everybody is in agreement on this. Waste Management agrees with this number, and Republic agrees with this number that's on here.
Those
So
are
as
all,
long as we have an agreement that between both parties that the numbers are accurate and it's not favoring one or another, then that's what we have to go off.
you can see the breakdowns in the back of your
Yeah.
packet, how we got to those numbers. And
Yep.
those are all from the unit prices that they submitted. Then just moving on to the last point I wanted to make about the budget. So, and if Matt and Jane want to comment on anything on this, pretty much you see the prices, and based on where our budget is at right now, anything more than the biweekly recycling and no bulk is beyond what the budget that Sharon says we can afford. I don't know if you want to, Matt or Jane want to.
Yeah, no, I can add a little color to that. So if we, we were planning for bi-weekly recycling, we've been talking about that for a while. That's the reason why we got the larger carts and whatnot. If we go to weekly recycling in any scenario, Waste Management or Republic, it's going to be a larger increase. Obviously, you're paying for weekly, so by about $400,000. So when we did the numbers to start building the budget, and obviously the budget's not done yet, we calculated in, about 20, and now we thought I was about a 25% increase over the last contract. Obviously, that last contract was a very good contract, but not there anymore. And we're comfortable with that number. If we were to go to weekly, we could do it, but we would probably have to use free cash. It's not budgeted in, and that's gonna increase the percentage up to, I think, into the 40s. I don't think Sharon
48%.
Sharon, I don't think is able to be here tonight, but this is what she's told me, and I've relayed to her. So just so you know that's going to be added, And all the talk was to try to save money, to postpone and override it for as long as possible, which I wanted to do and still want to do. It's just that's just going to eat more out of our free cash, at least for this year, that we weren't really counting on, because we thought that, and I still think that probably biweekly is the way to go. A lot of other towns have moved in that direction. We have the larger bins to accommodate. I've gotten the emails you have saying, don't take away our weekly. And I wish I didn't have to, but it's a big number. So, but ultimately, it's up to you. But just wanted to clarify that point.
Carla, thanks. All right, I'm hoping someone has the answer to this, because to me, this is important.
Mm-hmm.
Of all the recycling barrels we've dispensed, delivered, how many homes requested two?
We do have that data. I don't know.
We do have that data. I believe the number's around 500 have requested a second cart
Out of how many?
out of
7,200, something like that.
yeah 75, 100, 8,000 carts that were on the initial roll up.
So you're saying approximately 500 asked for the extra cart. So,
Can you clarify for me if you're asking about a recycle cart or a regular trash cart?
yeah, I asked about an extra recycle cart.
Okay, I didn't hear the recycle. Thank you.
Yeah, because we all got one and one, whether we like it or not. It may be a smaller trash, depending if you're single or, a senior, but then a lot of bigger families or whatever could request a second one because the town purchased them. So to me, that's important because that's not a huge number.
So I have the number because I asked Chris this a week ago. It's 383 second trash carts went out and 526 second recycling carts went out.
How many again?
Out of, I think that number's in here too somewhere.
72, I think, Peter said 72 homes?
Yes,
7,200.
7,500 or something
7,500.
around that.
They're doing percentages because it's low.
Yeah, 7%.
Okay, question.
Yes, Melissa.
Do we have enough carts then, if we go to every other week, that we can give every household an extra cart if they want one for recycling?
Yeah, we would.
And where's the money gonna come from if we need to buy more?
It would have to come out of the general fund, but
Yeah.
we have
We have
a good
it
supply of carts in storage right now from all
How
the
many-
swap outs we had to do.
How many approximately, please?
500, 1,000, 2,000.
No.
We can't store that many.
2,000.
Yeah, I mean, we have,
This is a good question again in advance.
we probably have close to 1,000 carts, I would say, in storage right now.
A mix of both, or is that just recycling?
1,000 blue carts. We're asking about the recycle carts.
Yeah, probably close to 1,000 blue carts that we have in storage right now.
Okay. Can I just keep on going on that? So
Yeah.
I understand, no one likes change, and I'm not advocating for either one right now. For whoever's watching, I'm sure it's the whole town. But my parents were in Medford. They went to biweekly. It is an adjustment. We're all going to have to get used to it if we go that route, and I think it'll work out. I can't guarantee that, obviously. There's going to be a lot of people saying, no, we feel two now. I can't, discount that. But we declared as a board at the beginning of this year we're very budget centric right now and trying to find ways. So I know 400,000 plus doesn't sound like a lot of money, but, it kind of is. In a sense, and people say, well, you did this, you did that. Yes, we did, but this is a big service. It's a big part of paying our taxes, so I'm not taking this lightly. But if Chris said that we had 2,000 homes with two carts, we got to be a little more concerning right now with 526, and that could rise to 1,000 homes in the next week because whatever we pick, we pick. But I don't. This is a tough one as far as weekly and biweekly. Can I ask this? Is both representatives are here? I don't know if it's even feasible. Is there any way to do a trial with a month, 2 months, bi-weekly, and just see how many complaints we get? Has that been done before? Is that possible logistically? And man hours, I don't know. I'm just asking because if it's possible, obviously I'd say let's do it. If it's not possible, please let me know why.
I mean, it's also a matter of trucks too, because like with Waste Management's proposal with the bi-weekly, we would only have one recycling truck in town versus with weekly, we would have two.
That's what I'm asking. Right? I don't know if it's even possible. Just an idea I had today.
I guess, did you want to, yes.
Dan Higgins with Public Services. Towns have made that change where they've gone to week or every other week. With enough lead time, depending on what you contract out, the truck requirements have a lead time. We have the trucks existing right now, so we can handle every other week or weekly. There's a different cost to it, so we just need lead time in terms of having the trucks available.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I get that you're here now, and you bought the JRM contract, which had a lot of value when you guys bought JRM. But is there, other than financial, is there a reason we can't get newer trucks or within the 5 years? Because it seems like these aren't going to be as efficient, like Chris mentioned and Jane mentioned. So that's a little concerning too for me. Can we have some kind of assurances or?
Well, we wouldn't be getting new trucks.
No. Well, it sounds like the truck that they're using now requires more reworld stops. Or is that something different?
Josh Mitchell, Republic Services. I'm the general manager. Right now, we service all of the town cans with the rear load trucks, and we are not making additional reroll trips. So changing the truck type and still servicing them with the same truck, the Corrado style truck, is not going to increase more trips. We're not going to fill up faster. That's how we're currently servicing it with the rear load. They will actually be more efficient because they will dump the containers more quickly than the rear load with the cables do right now. So I don't expect that to be a challenge at all. It'll be a efficiency pickup for us by converting to the Corrados.
And it'll be a new truck that you'll be
And
getting.
they're newer trucks.
Okay, I misunderstood this. That I heard the existing trucks that they're using now. That's what I heard.
No, so I think that the trucks they're using now, they're not using the ones with the arms and all that.
No, I know that.
You know what I mean? But in the future, they will be in June, is what I'm hearing.
Okay. All right.
I don't want to ice out Waste Management, so if you do have a question or comment, you can always raise your hand.
Pasek is on the line. So.
And same thing for you, Karen. Oh, well, virtual hand, Ed, not like real hand. Thank you. Go ahead.
Ed Pasek, Waste Management. Good evening, everyone. Yeah, sorry, I had to use the real hand. I couldn't find the virtual button on the screen here. So just wanted to address the question about the weekly versus every other week recycling. So as we had proposed, we have the opportunity, an option to provide either service to the town. And as far as making a switch midstream, I think what I'd say the best way that we would be able to accommodate that would be to start with a weekly recycling program, and then potentially down the road, if the town was looking to save money or reduce services, then we could make that switch. And we'd be coming from the point of view of we need to order the trucks in advance of the contract start. So if that's something that the town had interest in, as far as having that flexibility, I think that was what we would suggest, is to go with the weekly recycling. But I think what we would also point out is that we service many communities with every other week recycling in this area. And it would be, the program that we had proposed here and what was presented is very consistent with what's in the area already. So we have full confidence that it would be workable for the town and certainly would be the most budget-friendly option.
I guess if I could ask a follow-up, Ed, and then obviously Republic. So if we did go with weekly recycling, Is there a penalty if we stopped it after the first year? Or at minimum, we have to keep trash and the recycling is not an issue? Or are we locked into 5 years on recycling?
We would, I mean, recycling as a program at all? Like, in
No,
other
meaning
words-
going from weekly recycling to going to.
Okay, I understand. Yeah, so we would be able to switch after 1 year. We could make an arrangement within the contract to give the town the option to switch, and we would just write in both prices that we've already proposed, and that would be available to the town.
Okay, and the same thing with Republic? Yes,
80% of our contracts in the state.
you kind of have to go up so other people can hear you.
Yeah, we would bid amenable as well. And 80% of the contracts in the state that are automated are every other week recycling.
Okay.
So the towns that are weekly that do automate, they end up being able to, it's adequate for most of the residents. And the second card option for recycling is a good option for people that need more recycling.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. One of the bigger questions, and maybe Ed, you can answer this, I had asked Republic, so there is a charge for the cart maintenance and delivery. Ed, do you know what waste management's cost is for that? I know it's kind of built into the number, but I'm just trying to get an idea of what that actual cost is.
So I don't have a per repair cost available off the top of my head, but it is included in the base price of the contract that, or the price that we propose to the town.
So there's no, if we said, no, we're going to have the town take care of it, there's nothing that you can pull off that base price?
Oh, okay, no, so I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question. The answer is yes, we could reduce our price. I'm not prepared to offer what that number would be right now, but we could certainly get back to you with what the reduction would be.
Could you give me a guesstimate?
I don't want to, I'm not comfortable doing that right now. I really wasn't, I'm sorry, I wasn't prepared to make that change to our proposal right now, but.
Yep, no, that's fine. I was just curious of what that number was. For me, and I've said this, many times, is that residents pay taxes for services like trash pickup, like road work in schools. And I'm having a really hard time diminishing the services for our residents here, from weekly everything and bulk pickup to bi-weekly and potentially no bulk. It's going to come out of their pockets. We're asking residents to pay more money. I mean, we just approved a $30 million recap program, or building, I'm sorry. And, a resident today said to me, how many people in town does that building service? Probably not even 50%, but trash services everyone in town. So I'm having a really hard time thinking that we're going to take things away from residents when they're paying all of their taxes. So for me, I'm going to stick my heels on the ground on this one, and we need weekly recycling. I think it's going to be a concern if we don't have weekly recycling, with people throwing their recycling into the trash. I think the recycling could build up. A senior's going to have a hard time pulling that down every other week. Who's monitoring it every other week for these people? I forget sometimes. It's even trash day, never mind every other week recycling. So I really think it comes down to that we need to continue the services we have here and not reduce them.
Karen, did you have something?
Yeah, so I think a lot of my questions have been answered. I think I've talked to a lot of people over the last couple of weeks, and I agree that it's kind of half and half. Half of them think I pay for taxes, trash impacts every single resident in the town, and that's not something they want to give away or give away easily. And then I have the other half that's like, I don't care, I need the cheapest value, and that's all I want. And I've talked to single people, old people, families, and so it was really confusing for me to kind of wrap my head around what the town really is looking for. I think the option of starting with recycling every week and then maybe doing a test after a year or 6 months in just to see how it works could be a good compromise to settle. You're right. Sometimes people forget it's trash week. I completely understand that, but I think with training and education that we can move towards being greener. And this is kind of It's not going to happen by June or July that we're going to train everyone to be every other week, but I think if we can phase it in, we'll be able to save money at that end as opposed to right now. I do want to say that I drove around town, and the benefit of having a bulk item picked up every week, the amount of people that I saw on trash days with one bulk item outside was a lot less than I had expected. And I know it's cyclical and it depends on what's going on. But my neighbor uses it every week, but no one else on my street uses it. And when I drove all over town, I was really surprised by the lack of extra items that were out there. So I think that out of the whole scope of our plans, that might be something that we can consider. One question I did have is if, and it's expensive to pay to get rid of an item in some of these plans, that if we could have either a plan, and I think it had been talked about last week, a dumpster at DPW where they could bring it to DPW maybe for $20 as opposed to having it picked up at their curb. That could be an option that we could talk about. I don't think it has to be part of this discussion, but I think it could be a discussion that we have once we move forward after we sign a contract. I had a whole bunch of questions, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of them were answered. I think that's it. Thank you.
Thanks, Karen. I gotta wonder, like, it seems like everyone's all over the road on this. It's like, for me, I don't want to do everything all at once. I don't want to lose weekly recycling, and I don't want to lose bulk. But then you get to the point where, what am I picking? Do I want to do bulk and not weekly, or just do the no bulk but keep weekly? And it just, I don't want to change anything. I agree, it's nice with what we have, but we have to be realistic that times are changing. It's unfortunate. I know that these contracts were vetted, you know what I mean? And I used AI like I always do with everything. And stuff is within reason here. There's no, I saw a lot of comments of people thinking we're getting screwed and all that. And it's unfortunate that this is the state that we live in of how things are. And it went up. It didn't go up massively like one of the $4 million bids. That would have been crazy. But we had a 10-year contract. That's what people have to understand is 10 years ago was 1.2. I understand there was scaling since then, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's really not that far off. But I'm still unsure which direction we should go with the recycling, the bulk, and everything. I understand Karen's points. It seems like you're advocating, Karen, if I had to guess, for the lowest number possible with nothing possible, I guess. And Melissa?
No, I think I'm actually leaning towards weekly recycling and no bulk item. I think that's where, and it's not the cheapest option, but I think having the option to reduce it in a year or so is a very appetizing aspect to it. I will say that some of the comments we got was that we need to get back to the table to renegotiate. I think what's missing here is we've all been talking about this for less than a month, but town staff has been working on this for over a year. And so I think it's unfortunate that it seems like we just started talking about this, but this has been in the works for a very long time. And I think town staff has done a great job putting everything together. And I don't want that to get lost in the discussions because it's really complicated and it's not being taken lightly at all. We don't want to take a benefit away from the town. But if one of the benefits is not being used by 50% of the residents, then I think it's a benefit that we really should look at to see whether it's a need or a want. And I think the bulk item is kind of a want at this point with the economy the way it is. That's just my personal opinion, and I'm sure I'll get flack for that, but it's based on observations and looking around town. And, I think that looking at behaviors is really important. And I think working on behaviors moving forward, becoming greener, more recycling, more composting, like that's something that we'll do in phases, not all as part of this contract. So I'm really leaning towards doing the every week recycling at this point with the option to modify it if we can.
Carla.
Thanks. I guess for both parties that are here, Republic mentioned and Waste Management didn't get the chance, but I'm guessing it's the same. On the customers that you service, you said 80% are biweekly, which I get. Of the towns that you service, this is for both of you, please, how many of those towns do the bulk item, as part of their contract?
Half and half.
Waste Management, you kind of know of your customer base, your contracts, how many have bulk pickup and how many don't?
The majority of our curbside contracts include a bulk pickup option. And I think at this point in time, almost every one of those, if not all of them, are structured such that the resident makes an appointment and pays for the item.
All right, so they didn't make it part of their contract as a weekly option. Is that what I heard? The customers.
Correct. So, yeah, so I would say if you were interested in aligning the town's program with the way most programs are today in the state that we service, it would have an option for bulk, and it would be an option where the resident contacts us, schedules an item, and pays for the item to be collected. So that would be in alignment with the vast majority of the programs that we have throughout the state.
Thank you. So with those answers, I definitely agree more with Karen on the bulk item. And of course, as we see in our packet, Waste Management has a clear advantage for our residents as far as paying. And for speaking individually, I haven't put a big piece out in 15 years on my curb. And I've had that luxury of putting one piece out a week. Unless you're moving or decluttering. And I'm just speaking for myself. And, I drive all over town too. And yeah, you see a bureau or chair every now and then, but it's not widespread. So if we want to save the whole town money, I think having no bulk is the better option. We're already doing it for our appliances. We have to pay to have our appliances removed curbside unless someone's going to go to a scrapyard, which probably doesn't happen that often. As far as weekly or bi-weekly, yeah, I mean, we got to pull the trigger tonight, hopefully. And I don't know. I value Sharon and what she has to do, but with Melissa, I don't liking take away a service, but given that so many communities have gone to bi-weekly and there's no riots in the streets, I don't see why we can't do it.
I guess because I always go back to the numbers. So if we were to go with hypothetically weekly trash, weekly recycling, and picking obviously the more advantageous for residents paying, that would be Waste Management. And the figure would be $12,989,456. The problem.
Over 5 years.
Yes. Well, that's a 5-year total, is the 12 million. I'm always going with the 5 years. But then the problem that I get is that when you can go with weekly trash, weekly recycling with one burnable item and one metal item with Republic for $13,357, that's a difference of like $300,000 over 5 years, which is like nothing. So if we're going to go with one on this, why wouldn't we go with $300,000 more and keep it somewhat the same that it is? As opposed to like if you took the lower number at 10 million for Waste Management for the 5 years with nothing included, 10 million to the 13 million is significant. But we're looking over here at the minimum of $12,989 compared to $13,357. Unless someone else has another idea, that's kind of like the theme I'm seeing coming out of this. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I can't I can't deny that. It's there in black and white. It still puts us over budget that we projected. But the math is, 300 and almost 360,000. No, 11, no, more than that, yeah. Well, that's over 5 years, so that's not, that's not a lot of money when you break it down over 5 years, but it's still the budget issue.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I think the general consensus before we got into this, with Karen included, obviously, is that something was going to have to give. I didn't think everything was going to have to give. You know what I mean? So I kind of thought that we'd be going against town staff because, we live here. I understand they work here and they deal with the public and they handle budgets and we handle everyone yelling at us sometimes. But we're here, we see what's going on. We understand that, how Melissa mentioned, there's bigger families. They always seem to be getting hammered. I agree with that. Same thing, elderly residents or whatever, they're probably getting screwed on these options that we're picking because they're not using all of this. So I understand there's the give and take. It's just, it seems as if we're still all over the place unless I'm misinterpreting how we're going with this. Carla.
Real quick, right now there's 4 of us. Is Karen Herrick coming? Has anyone heard from her?
When we scheduled the meeting, I reached out to her and she said she was available to come tonight. And I haven't heard otherwise, so I don't know. I could reach out to her if you want me to, but I haven't.
Well, if we're split tonight, that's a problem.
Okay. Then I will reach out and see if she's coming.
I don't know if we're split. I think each one of us has our own decision. And it all seems like we're all going different directions.
That's the problem.
Yeah, I know. Melissa, did you have?
No, I was just going to say that there's actually only, if you did weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable, bulky item, I'm sorry, one bulky item, but no metal item, it's like a difference of 342,000 between Waste Management and Republic over a 5-year. Do you see what I'm saying?
So which column?
I don't see what you're saying. What are you saying?
So I'm saying that if Chris had mentioned, if we did weekly trash, weekly recycling, and no items, it's 12,989,456 for Waste Management.
Right.
But if we went to Republics and just allowed all the weekly trash, weekly recycling, and one burnable item, that difference is only 342,871 over 5 years. So to add the item in for people to still be able to do at least one burnable item, not metal, but burnable, over 5 years, it's $343,000 approximately.
No, more than that. It's 350.
But it's still not a low number. Do you know what I mean? So if you're comparing what Chris is saying, as far as if we go way down to the, nitty gritty of, I don't want to say offering nothing, but taking more away than we're giving to the residents, it's still a pretty high number. It's not below 2 million per year. It's so I feel like it's still the same 400 grand that we're kind of talking about between the two different companies.
Sure.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, you're right.
Yeah, I'm not worried about 400,000, to be honest with you, in the grand scheme of things, but millions.
I think Sharon is.
But but you know what I mean? In the context of this,
I do.
Given what we spend in this town and what we overspend in this town, that's what I mean. And relative to this, yes, every penny counts. There's boards asking us for money. There's residents saying, why are we doing this? Why are we not doing that? So I get it. But when we go from these numbers, the highest being, 14 million, and to the lowest being, 10.4, that's a huge gap. Obviously, we're not picking 14 million, but these are the numbers that are in front of us. So, if I was deciding this by myself, I would go crazy. So I'm glad I have 3 other people to help me tonight. But, and I get staff's input, but I think we're a little bit all over the place, unfortunately, and that's because we can't meet in advance and all that stuff, which is good. But right now I'm agreeing more with Karen, but I'm not opposed to biweekly. I'm not. So I think that's going to happen anyway.
Jane?
A couple of points to think about as you make this decision. It's not an easy decision, and I understand. I sat in your seat, so I understand what you're working on, and I know that the board has worked very hard to, over the last several months and over the last several years, as we've gone through the CART rollout and prepared the community for what could be biweekly recycling. You've all been very considerate and you've been thoughtful to the whole process. So I want to acknowledge and thank the board members and your predecessors for that, for years of this conversation. When you're talking about equity and how we provide a public good to all the people in the community, and because we're 10 years later than the last contract, and so a lot has changed, and we all understand inflation and inflationary pressures and labor costs and so forth. It's important to understand that while you do have large families that are producing more solid waste, is it fair to ask smaller households to subsidize larger household solid waste processes? And so, speaking of the recycling, if we're producing a lot more recycling in one house, that house should pay its way. Is it fair that smaller houses subsidize that cost? It's not. Larger families make the decision to be larger families. So
I would agree with you, Jane. The problem with that is typically larger families have larger houses and they pay larger amounts of taxes.
we do.
So
We could talk about a trash fee.
Well,
no, thank you.
and larger families like myself are already subsidizing by paying for our second trash barrel yearly.
Yes, if you're paying for a second trash barrel,
They're already
but
subsidized.
not. Well, you're paying. No, you're not subsidizing. You're paying for additional trash disposal and removal. So you're paying your share.
I was
The
told at one
recycling is
point
different.
That it's to subsidize what was known to be the increase in trash costs.
Right, but it's per your household, so it's fair.
Yeah.
The other folks who are producing less waste are not subsidizing your household.
Agree, but it was not, when we sat in town meeting, it was described as there will be a charge for those extra trash barrels because we know the new contract's going to be a lot higher.
Yes.
We need this extra money.
Right.
So we are subsidizing for everyone in the town by paying for those second trash barrels.
We only have 300 extra trash barrels too, which
Right.
in the grand scheme of things is like nothing. Negligible money at this point. Karen, did you have your hand up? Or
I can't remember.
It's your turn anyways. Yeah.
Well, I guess in response to that is large families get older and move on, and new larger families move in. And so we're always going to kind of have that dynamic. And I don't know what the number of families in town that are large as opposed to the percentage of how are smaller. I will say what was really surprising to me when I talked to a lot of people, they didn't care about the money, which I was so surprised about. And this was not, I'm going to say 25% of them cared about the money. And the rest of them are like, I don't care. And they said, and I don't want to say that some of them said, the town can afford to pay for all these other things we've got. And I'm trying to explain to them, but at some point we have to kind of stop. And we've all said we have to kind of stop spending the way that we do. And is this the thing that's going to be the catalyst to the beginning of that? Or is this going to be the last big thing that we decide to pay for in a town? And then the override comes. And I don't think we should be afraid of the override because it's coming whether we want it to or not. It's just we have to be super meaningful in how we spend our money and what we're asking for. So now I just assumed that a lot of people would have been more concerned about the money. And so, when you try and throw the money part of it and the green community part of it to increase recycling and increase composting, and, we've got a lot of different things being kind of melded into this discussion for the future. And so I think that's also in there. And so it's making it very complicated for all of us. So that's all I had to say.
Thanks. Karen, you're right, but from where I sit, over 5+ years and with an override impending, what you just said, this is nothing personal, goes out the window. And when they see yes for override, no for override on front lawns,
Yeah.
they're going to say we can't manage our money. Right? So when people say they don't care, they'll pay whatever, yeah, they can say that, right? Because it's in their tax bill. But when their tax bill is going to go up by, let's say, for some homes, over $1,000 in a couple of years for the $1 million plus homes, they're like, okay, I have $1 million plus home. You know, my taxes go from 15 to 16,000. Then they go from 16 to 17,000, and so on and so forth, right? So, but when the override comes, because I've experienced it, it's a whole different ballgame.
Oh, I agree with you. I'm not saying I'm siding with them. I just was so surprised by it because I thought, I just was very surprised by it. So I'm not saying that I'm not super money conscious. Trust me, I am. But we're all trying to balance all the comments that we've received from so many different people and figure out what's best moving forward. And it's really complex. And
No. I think this wasn't directed at you. It's just.
Oh yeah, I understand.
Given my experience,
Thank you.
Given my experience, yeah, we're ready. You know, a lot of people come here for multiple reasons: location, school system, accessibility to New Hampshire, whatever, Boston, train. So, yeah, we don't know what the override is going to be, the amount. We're trying to do our best to make that impact less. So by agreeing to a $13 million contract, as opposed to a $10.5, $11 million contract, that's the right thing to do. Doesn't make this decision easy. I just think that, this room should be full tonight, and it's not. I don't know who's watching, but unfortunately, given the way we vote in town, 25% come to a local election or less, that's who's maybe paying attention to what we do as a board. So 75%, yeah, I'll agree with you. Those people don't care. That part, I guess I could deduct from this conversation. 75% of the residents that don't vote in local elections don't care. They live here, they love living here, they'll pay the taxes, and they'll want their services. We take something away, maybe town staff is going to get some more phone calls than they normally get. I don't know. But I think all these budget talks we've been having, I haven't decided on which line item to pick yet, but right now I'm leaning towards weekly trash, bi-weekly, the bare bones to get us the lowest cost.
I'll just say, obviously, this is a special Thursday meeting, so it's off kilter from what we usually do. So maybe that's a determining factor of why nobody is here per se. But obviously, this is one of the more important decisions that I've been a part of. I haven't done 13 million. Obviously, we had no control over the senior center and Killam and all that, but this is landing on us, and we are going to get the feedback after it happens, whichever direction we go. A lot of people won't be happy. Some might be. But we have to do things within reason. We can't go crazy all the time. I wonder if there's anyone from the public that had comment before we kind of finalize this to a point. So nobody in the room, but anybody on Zoom, Maddie, by chance, that wants to say anything?
Nobody on Zoom.
Excellent. Ready? So
I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, can I ask one more thing?
Go ahead.
Sorry. Let's say we go to bare bones. I'm pretty sure we had discussed, Chris, having something available at the DPW for people to drop things off, and then it would cost us money to have the dumpsters taken away. Do you have any idea what kind of cost that would entail if we decided to do something like that?
It would be hard to say because dependent upon how much bulk you receive, we pay by the ton. So,
okay.
I've seen some of these events before, and, in the community I live in, and the line is a mile long. I cannot say how much we would see, for tonnage on one of those. It would be the dumpster rental and then whatever we have to pay reworld for disposal.
Okay.
I think it was around 2 to 4 grand, Karen. It's not like 60,000 or something crazy. So in my
Okay.
talks, I think with Ed, I think I asked this question, and it was around 2 to 4 grand for, you know, like Chris said, the amount of whatever we get. And typically with our recycling vents, they are backed up all the way to Jimbo's. So like
Right.
it's crazy.
So as far as how we can right now go Monday through Friday to the DPW, it is possible that we could have a dumpster there or whatever kind of collection venue to do a metal drop off if people want to do it during the week. If we decided we wanted to somehow do something like that in the future, that may not cost as much as what it is on paper right now, but we could talk about that at a later date because it's something we pay for that's extra and outside of the contract.
I mean, we could talk about it, whether it's something that we have available every single day during the week or whether it was like a special events that we have on a Saturday, because
Right.
I do have a space issue down at the garage too, and to try to, you know, have separate dumpsters down there, you know, while still trying to fit all the vehicles in down there that we have,
Right.
you know, it does create an issue.
Okay,
So
all
I'd have
right,
to look at that.
thank you.
And I did just get some clarity too, for recycling carts and storage right now, we have about 500 to 600 probably.
Okay. So I guess we'll take a pulse of everybody and see what everyone would pick, and then we can hash out numbers with either Waste Management or Republic. So Karen, were you weekly no bulk, or what is your first choice? I mean, weekly recycling, weekly trash, weekly recycling, no bulk.
My first instinct before I talked to a lot of people in town was to go with a lower number and do bi-weekly recycling, because I just think that's the way that we're gonna go anyway. I completely understand where the public, it's really hard, you know, I'm trying to not necessarily put my own personal opinion on where we think we should go with recycling. So I'm, you know, I do, but tonight I think, my gut is telling me weekly trash, bi-weekly recycling, and nothing else. I just, even though I said I wanted the other things, but after hearing what everyone has to say and understanding where we're headed, that's kind of where I fall, and which is contrary to what I thought an hour ago.
Carla.
Right now, same as Karen.
Melissa.
Weekly trash, weekly recycling, no bulk items.
And that is where I am at, which is the problem. Because, listen, my mindset on this is a big change for the town, and we would do too much at once. And I understand the limitations on bulk. You might see one on a street or whatever, but like we have the data on who's gotten second recycling things, and it's like negligible too. It's 500, whatever I said, compared to 7,000 residences. So even that number is ridiculously low. But I think the big change all at once is too big for us to do. That's just, Carlo.
Yes and no. I think we're resilient, hopefully, but we're talking $2 million here, folks, for either company. Over $2 million. That's a lot of money over 5 years. That's a lot of money. And I don't have a crystal ball. I don't. And I wouldn't want to be the deciding vote. So maybe Karen made the right call tonight by not coming. But she should be here. It's not right. But if we're 2-2, then we have to have another meeting. I don't think I can be persuaded to spend $2 million more.
I don't think we can have another meeting on this though either. Like, we're going to make a decision. I understand everybody elected us to make the tough decisions. This is one of the more tough. This is not political, unless somehow it is. Now, I haven't found a way yet to figure that out. So this, you know, I'd like for us to be unanimous. It doesn't seem as if that's going to be the case at this point.
Me too,
Obviously.
Well, can I make a comment then?
Yes, Karen.
So since one of the arguments against 2
too much too soon, I agree with. And, I think getting rid of a bulk item is going to be hard for some people and other people could care less. I think if we can write into the contract that we're going to give ourselves a year and then go to every other week for recycling, I think that gives us technically more than a year and a half between now and when it goes into effect to be able to get us towards that with the public, and the price will come down at that time. I know we can't afford it right now, but I'd be willing to do that option so that we can at least ease into it, but know that we're going to change. And that year, it will save us money, which we're really going to need to save the money at that particular year. We need it this year, but if we want to do it in stages, I think that's the best scenario to do it in stages.
Carla. As much as I agree with you so far, Karen, that's 18 months. We have 8 months till July 1st. If we can't, what's another year going to do? If we were talking 2 months from now, okay, I'd give you that. We have 8 months to blast.
I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you, but I also heard that I don't think 8 months is enough time for people to change the behavior and get used to the schedule. Honestly, I think that I just think that's it's going to be hard for them to get used to that.
It's going to be, of course it's going to be hard. I totally agree with that.
Right.
Just remember, my father forgets all the time, but there are only 2 people in the house, luckily, so it's not a big deal. And my siblings live in Medford if it became a problem. But waiting 18 months to sound like the inevitable.
I agree with you, but I do think we need to take a vote on it tonight. So I'm trying to compromise somewhere for people. Do you know what I mean? So I don't want us to not vote tonight because one of us is not willing to kind of take the step halfway. So that's the only compromise I feel like there is, unless someone has another one.
Well, I would, if my 2 colleagues here that are here would, consider my friendly amendment to you, I would, and I don't agree with it, but I would say 6 months, because we don't need 18 months. We don't.
Oh, okay. If that's an option, I don't know if
I don't like it, but I know what you're saying. Listen, this is going to be a big change, and I'm sure every community that these guys have serviced, it's a cluster the first couple of months. I don't know how you can't say it isn't for the residents and for them, and then you get in a groove, and then we put it on our calendar and we put an X on the day, and that's it. But yeah, there's no way I will agree to an extra year.
Okay.
Can I just point something out?
Yes.
So no one's going to get used to it until they have to start doing it.
I agree.
So it would, if you're saying 6 months, so really the time is from June to December. That's it, is what you'd be saying, because now is not the time that they can get used to it, because it's still continuing to be the same as it is until June. So I don't think that that's realistic either.
Oh, no,
I think that's the theory behind why
I'm trying to, I don't want to say, side with Karen. I don't want any extension. If we're going to do it, let's do it. That's my opinion. But if you of you agreed, okay, let's give the residents more time, then it would be 6 months, not a year. I think 8 months is plenty of time. Huh?
the vendor said a year.
The vendor said after a year they would review it. Well, that was what Waste Management said. I don't know if that's the same for Republic. It would be the same. Yeah, they need a year after the contract's been in effect for a year. Then they would make that change. They have their commitments that they need to make as well. Yeah. So it would be that's the vendor driven.
I got you. All right. So yeah, I don't like that option. Great. I appreciate it, but I don't.
I think if the bulk items were, the pricing is similar at the bottom, this would be a lot more easier than it is, because obviously Waste Management is like, far superior in that aspect. And like $80 on a small item and $75 on a burnable bike feed, like I buy a chair for $20-30 on Amazon, and then to get rid of it, it's $75. I mean, I understand that's the same thing. To get rid of it's $30 on this aspect. And like I was driving around, I saw somebody out with a lamp and like 3 pictures or something, and I'm like, that's not going to fit in the trash, because I mean they'd have to break them up, but then they don't have trash because they have 1 barrel. And I'm like, is that like $105 sitting on the side of the road right now? It's like, that's kind of what I was envisioning, and it's not a good envision. That's why I wish these numbers were closer, because then it's easier to start picking, columns. Because if we want to say no more bulk anymore, and we pick Republic, we screw the residents. If we want to say bulk, then we pick Republic, because then it's included and everyone's happy. Like, there's so many trade-offs in this. So, like I said, it's one of the bigger decisions we've had to make. It's multiple line items with, good conversation that we've had tonight regarding it all. I just never wanted Karen at a meeting more than tonight. I gotta be honest.
That's a good one.
Even Karen Rosegillis laughed.
Yeah.
That's good. I won't.
We'll put that in the minutes that Karen Rose-Gillis laughed. Put that in the minutes.
Yeah, she still laughed.
I laugh a lot.
Thank you. So, what are we going to do here?
I'm sticking where I'm sticking. Sorry, guys.
No, don't be sorry.
So you wanted weekly recycling,
Yep.
weekly
Trash.
trash.
She's okay.
I
with-
said no bulk.
No
She's
bulk.
okay with no
All
bulk.
right, so you're okay with no bulk on that.
Yeah.
So it seems as if everyone's good with no bulk then. All right, so
Okay.
we have accomplished something.
You two and us two is $2 million.
Well, I understand that.
I just have to say, I'm not gonna do.
But like, I understand the value of the bulk, and, it is a certain percentage, relatively low. It's more of the change for the residents. That's the problem. I'm in Carlo's boat. My wife sends everything on Facebook. I have people showing up at all different hours, picking up random stuff that I would have thrown away. And she's getting, she's doing it all. So, I haven't got rid of bulk stuff really ever. But that doesn't mean that I would make a decision based off my own when I know other people obviously have to have it too. But it seems like the general consensus of us four on that means that we should omit the bulk option and then see what we can do regarding recycling.
Good. That's nice.
So,
Can I ask a question regarding,
course.
If a large family already has 2 blue recycle buckets, are they able to get a third?
We've only been allowing one additional recycling bucket, but I don't see why we couldn't offer a third if someone really needed it.
but are these contracts based off the amount of bins that somebody is collecting? Like, are they doing it where I saw in Arlington where it's based off 32,000 carts or something? And now we're going to add on another, 1,000 or 2,000 and put us over a certain number.
Yeah, I know Waste Management had a per unit cost for additional carts. I'm not sure on Republic in there. The price was, I didn't see anything
But
specific.
what did we give them? Our current amount, and then you scaled it up a little just for a little buffer?
Yeah, we had a number that we knew of at the time that was in the RFP, and then anything beyond that.
Okay. I guess the way that it's going in the amount of extra carts was 500. I myself didn't get an extra recycling cart because I wanted to see how this was going to play out. So I'm one of the people holding out, like Melissa had mentioned, where you might see a sea of additional people. I guess adding a third cart for recycling is an option. Jane just mentioned that it's up to us, and I don't see a problem with us doing that.
Price goes up.
Price goes up.
Well, it goes up, but how much is it going up? Like,
I think either vendor we go with would be able to make that price, would be able to tell us what the per unit price is. If the board feels that that biweekly recycling with those households that would need a third cart, a recycling cart, would be advantageous. I think financially it's advantageous, and even we would have to pay more based on the additional carts for recycling, but it's, I think based on the prices vis-a-vis the vendors, it's probably close. Chris is looking at it right now. Does Republic have? Yep.
Yeah, Ed, did you have something in your proposal that had a cart price additional beyond what we had scoped? I thought I saw it.
Yeah, they definitely.
Yeah, we did, and I'm just, I don't think you have it in your packet, so I just was trying to pull it up in my records here.
I did just put something in your technical proposal or something, I think, possibly.
On the price sheet.
Yeah.
Item 5F, that you had requested pricing for an additional town trash barrel, but per the price sheet, there was no request for a second or third additional trash or recycling cart.
Okay.
So that might be some of the confusion.
Yeah, so for waste management, additional town trash barrel, including pickup and hauling, for the first year was $3 each additional cart.
But that's trash, not recycling?
That's just trash.
So what is recycling? Because that's what we're discussing.
That was,
We
that was
didn't
asked.
have an item for recycling.
And did I just hear, what was your name again? Samantha, did you say you didn't price in a second recycling card for us? Or did I just hear that?
It wasn't on the price sheet, so that wasn't a price that was provided to us.
We didn't ask for it.
Right, but, so of the homes that have 2 carts, is that your?
It's already included.
Yeah.
That's us, thank you.
We gave them the numbers we already have.
So 2 trash barrels, 2 recycling barrels would be included in the cost.
No, one trash barrel.
Well, some people have 2 trash
Oh.
barrels.
No, we gave out what we have.
Okay, so
We
that,
know what it is extra, but those families pay extra for those
Yeah.
carts, so it's.
okay,
There was a base number in the RFP when we put out the RFP for what we had out there for carts at the time.
okay. But if this gets approved as bi-weekly, that number is gonna jump significantly for recycling, I think.
Yes, I agree.
And so we don't know what the cost will be then
From either vendor.
from either vendor.
So what Melissa's saying, the cost of the increase by doing this might end up eating into, so the way I would mentally visualize this is we're paying $400,000 more for, weekly recycling. But if we kept it bi-weekly, you see what I mean? Like the 400 number keeps coming down per cart in this scenario, because if we had 527, whatever I said, second carts, say it doubles to 1,000. Now, what is the cost of 1,000 extra carts? It could end up costing us $100,000 more a year.
Right.
So now our $400,000 number is really 300, which is a little bit more manageable for us to swallow. You know what I mean? We're not arguing over higher numbers. But I see her point there, that we could be setting ourselves up.
I think we need that data.
Well, I mean, if you had 1,000 extra carts at $3 per cart for trash, for example, I mean, that's $3,000
But that's for the total contract for the whole year?
for a year, annually, for the first year.
And that's only trash though, not recycling.
Right.
But that's not per pickup per week per whatever. It's flat. That's for $3 for a year?
It's $3 per cart.
Per year.
Yeah, so if you have a,
Ed, you had your hand up?
Yeah, Chris, I just wanted to clarify that, and I'm not sure the numbers that you're referencing, but even like in our revised proposal that we had submitted, and this was dated August 14th, we had specified that additional carts added by the town would be charged $10 a month for weekly collection and $6 for every week collection.
There's no waste.
So
Yeah, no, we were agreeing that, like I said, there's no way that it was going to be that little. I'm like, I'll just start my own subcontracting company with extra additional $3 carts and put you all out of business. So like.
I'm sorry, Ed, could you repeat that? It was $10 a month per cart?
per extra cart for extra cart
They've got
for
trash.
weekly service. And if there was every other week service, it would be $6 per month per cart for every other week service.
This is for recycling it, correct?
It would be for either one.
Either one.
Yeah, so we just specified that rate based off, because really just the collection of it, based off the frequency.
Okay, I know I'm, beating a dead horse here, but I just want to clarify. So what is considered extra carts to you? So
Beyond what we put in the contract.
Beyond the one cart per, one trash cart, one recycling cart per resident.
So that's actually a fair
It
amount.
is. So I did the math. So if it's $10 a month, we currently have 562 whatever. I averaged it. I went up to 1,000. So now it's 10,000 a month times 12 months is 120,000. Like now we're getting into.
Is that for both trash and recycling?
That's for. I didn't even do the trash.
So he's saying that the price is only one trash, one recycling. Anything beyond that is extra. So that's 200 and something thousand.
I thought the 2 carts was, I'm getting confused now. What's going on here?
So we put in the RFP all of the carts that we already have out, right? So we rolled out the carts a year in advance, and we would have these numbers to put out.
Distinguished what's trash, what's recycled.
Correct. Yeah, we did that.
They just said that his proposal.
I know what
was
he just said.
1 and 1.
I know. We gave them the numbers that we already have out. So, and his price is applicable for additional carts as well if you're looking for a per cart unit cost. Going forward, that's fine. We'll have to clarify with Ed why they didn't use the numbers we have now in the RFP. Or if they did, and this is, because some households already have 2 out, right?
Yeah.
And then the trash pays for itself. So I wouldn't add on the trash because the trash extra cart pays for itself, right? So I wouldn't worry about that, but we're saying if we were to roll out an additional recycling cart, a third cart, or, whatever to these households, it will cost you more money. And we're doing it for free. Right now, the select board's decision was already made to include 2 carts, up to 2 carts for free.
Right.
So, yeah, for recycling, which I think is more than adequate.
Right, but I just heard Ed say something totally different.
You heard Ed say that it's over and above the additional 1. That's right.
But what's this number include for waste management?
I don't know. I just asked. I said, I don't know, Ed, why you didn't include the numbers we already gave you in terms of what our cart rollout, what we already have out. Or did you? And this is just the additional from this point on.
So what we included was 1 and 1, 1 trash, 1 recycling. And our intention is that, and we thought we were clear about it, was that the additional units beyond the 1 and 1 would be charged at the rates we specified. And our thought is that, like many communities, those rates are essentially covered by the residents. The town oftentimes charges the residents for those extra services. So that would, generally speaking, that's a pass-through. It's not really cost seen by the town. One other option that we propose, or certainly is available, is that we can handle that directly ourselves. So residents can, say, lease a car. Maybe it's not the right word, lease, but they could pay us directly for that service to use the service. So that's up to the town how you want to handle that. I guess what I would say that's certainly a little bit of surprise for me, and it would be significantly more expensive, would be if every resident in the town had 2 recycling carts. That would be a significant increase, and that's certainly beyond the scope of what our proposal.
Yeah, no, it's nowhere near. It's nowhere near that. So the numbers are 383 second trash carts and 526 second recycling to date as of October 7th. So that's kind of where we're at. So your figure did not include the 383 plus the 526 that I just told you.
It's not built into the base price, no. That's why we thought we were clear in separating that out as a separate item.
So then, Samantha, you had something?
Samantha Gray, Republic Services. I just wanted to clarify, all of our pricing includes a second cart for everything that we've proposed.
For both trash and recycling?
Yes.
For all households or just the ones we already gave?
for the ones that have been for the unit count, the current unit count. Yeah.
Yeah. Where waste management, that's not the case at
So
all.
in the RFP, our base numbers were, we had a total of about 8,000 trash carts and about 8,100 recycling carts on the base numbers that were in the RFP.
I think the problem we have uncovered here is that waste management's number is now going to be significantly more than what it was supposed to be.
Yes.
And it's not Ed's fault, it's not Jane's fault, it seems to be somebody's fault, I'm not sure, not that it matters, but it seems as if now the number is even higher. And could go even significantly higher based off, if we doubled, like I said, the recycling.
Those 500 cycle bits are going to be gone. If we go to bi-weekly, it's going to be
even I'm getting one.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
The ones we have are going to be gone, and then we might need more. So makes the decision a lot easier right now.
I think everyone,
As far as which company to pick,
I think everyone has to get on the, well,
I just hope this was not miscommunication or someone just didn't thoroughly read the RFP. Like, I don't know where this happened. And now we're here tonight in a special meeting with our fifth member not here. So I agree, we can't delay this much longer. I'm okay with another meeting, but if we do this next week,
we're not having another meeting.
forget about it. If we do it next week on Tuesday. So I hate to say this, but I don't think we can even consider waste management right now at all.
I think like I said, if we looked at what the bulk item costs, I understand they're nominal. Maybe 5% of the town is taking advantage of this on a regular basis. I think when you look at that number and you're like, well, if you guys do no bulk, you can't pick Republic because their thing is so high.
No, right.
But now hearing on the other end with waste management and potentially other figures coming up, I mean, now it's as if we have to pick Republic with
A bulk.
Like, I don't know what to tell you. When you scale out, like I said, I base my thing off 1,000, 10 a month ends up being 120,000. We're already at the extra 120,000 between 383 and 526. Essentially, we're already at that number. So now we're looking at, instead of 120, we're looking at 240. And then when you're at 240 and the difference is 400,000, like, what's the point? And if Republic is saying that theirs is included for 2 and 2, that gets into the whole second water meter scenario where we want to sell more water. So then now we want to sell more cards to people because then we're actually profiting per se from it.
Well,
to a point, like,
that are already out. They've included the ones that are already out.
Correct.
Right, not.
okay, so I'm half correct on that. Stuff's happening way too. Samantha had something else.
I just wanted to add as well, we've guaranteed that there's no need for rental trucks at all. So the money that you would potentially need to invest in rental trucks to start with the new vendor, that would be not something to consider with us whatsoever.
Yeah, that was the waste management, if they couldn't get the trucks in time.
Oh yeah, that's the 30,000. I didn't really consider that, but.
Well, we're not voting.
It takes about a year to.
No, I understand.
Yeah,
And we are voting. Whether or not
Yeah.
it actually passes is a different story. But
What I'm saying is you could
We are voting.
You could possibly be looking at July, August, September, October, 4 months of rental.
If I could speak to our contract instead of Republic, I would appreciate that. No offense, but is regarding our rental proposal, we did include rental, but one of the things that we did offer the town was the opportunity to have no rental if we could have a signed agreement by November 1st. So I realize that it's getting close to November 1st, but one of the reasons why we offered that is while it is true that we can't guarantee when the trucks would be here, we would, as an incentive and sort of a goodwill offer to the town to have a finalized contract in place. If the new trucks were not available by July 1st, we would still rent so that we would have trucks, but we wouldn't charge that to the town. So that was something that we were willing to absorb. But obviously, in order to mitigate the costs that we would absorb, that's why we were putting the deadline for November 1st in place. So hopefully that makes sense. But I just want to clarify that we also have an option that's available to the town that doesn't include rental costs.
I forget who came to the last meeting, the girl that was here, but she had mentioned it as well, and I wasn't factoring in any rentals in my, the way that I was going about this. So
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Karen, any thoughts on what just transpired in the past few minutes?
Where are we right now?
I don't know. North Carolina, South Carolina.
It's colder here than it is there. I can tell you that.
Right here. Thank you.
So I guess I'm now lost as far as what direction we're heading. Because now I don't want to take away the third recycle cart, and I'm not convinced all of a sudden there's going to be a huge rush, because I think there's a panic mode of, oh my God, I'm not going to have enough space. And I think that that's going to initially be part of this transition, where people are like, oh my God, I'm going to have so much trash. And they may, myself included. I just, I don't know where we're all at this point. I guess I'm just even more confused than I was before.
The problem is Republic's bulky item fee. If we go with Republic, because it's seeming like this is going to be significantly less expensive on both areas, then we're going to end up potentially scoring residents with a $75 share. That's what it is for me.
I agree with you. I think that, I think we as a community can come up with creative ways of getting rid of our bulk items, whether it be Waste Management has their dumpster bags that I've used many of, and I was talking to my neighbor that you could get a whole bunch of neighbors together and get a dumpster bag, and it gets picked up right by your driveway, and we would already know how to order things online through Waste Management. So that's one option where it would be a lot less than Republic's per item charge. If it's only, I'm guessing $300 a bag, if you fill up one of those bags, you can get a lot of stuff in there. And if you do it as a community or as a neighborhood, you can save a lot of money that way. I think we're going to have to get creative in how we get rid of our trash, which is, I feel like, the next phase of dealing with trash in general as a community. So I'm not, I agree. The cost per item for Republic is too expensive. And I think that's just a given. And so I think there's ways to work with the Waste Management contract to work with them and have it picked up at your door, but pay for it, but on a much lower scale dollar-wise. That's not helping us, figure out between bi-weekly and weekly recycling, but I think it's a way of dealing with bulk items.
Carlo?
Are you guys allowed to make executive decisions here tonight? Can we cut the bulk in half? I don't see why it's that much higher. I don't understand, you're in the same industry. I think if you cut that in half, you're going to buy a lot of goodwill here.
Or compromising the first two items, at least, the burnable bulky and the small metal. I understand disposing TVs and all this other crazy stuff, and washing machines and all that. That's you're going to pay somebody to take care of this. But my chair scenario, to Carlo's point, in the small metal, because that's what you're included in your, in the pricing options of including them in it. And if we didn't include them, you know what I mean? So those two numbers.
So the first, large and small metal.
So Well, what do you consider in your pricing option when you put one metal item? Is that consider a small and a large, or no? So, if you want to just come up to the podium for people.
The small and the large metal items, we would subcontract those out to a vendor who specializes in metal, and this is the price that they provide. I'm willing to come down on the burnable bulky. I can match that price, the waste management price, come down to 30 on that. But the small metal and the large metal item, I could probably do the small metal if it fits in the truck. But if I have to subcontract that, that's why the rate is there.
So for the small, are you willing to come down on that if it fits? Like we can have,
Yes.
we can have, okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say, we can have a regulation that people know if it's bigger than this, oh, well, like, okay.
I just have a quick question to clarify. Thank you very much. Is it up to, are the drivers trained? If this metal item is too big, they leave it, and then, okay, so it's kind of.
We can make that.
Yeah, right, okay, thank you.
Can I ask a question as well?
Of course, Karen.
I believe we have in waste management's numbers, the increase every year for 5 years for the bulk options. I don't remember seeing a 5-year increase for Republic for those items. Or does it stay the same for the next 5 years, or does it increase by 5%?
It says the market.
It says market, you're right, Karen.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
So
Thank you.
So is that an undisclosed number? You can make that 40% if you felt, or what is considered market? Like is there some trash overseer committee that sets rates?
So because of the, some of our items being subbed out, it's really based on our costs. So we may not even increase it next year 2, year 3. If we receive an increase, then we would basically pass the increase on, depending on what the market
Most
rate is.
likely it would increase. Nothing goes down.
The burnable,
burnable
bulky could probably be 5%.
Exactly. Yeah, the burnable bulk, we could do 5% because again, we would be collecting that ourselves.
It's a good thing I'm here, guys.
Yes, thank you. So knowing that, so where are we at with this? Are we still weekly recycling?
So I think, Karen, I'm going to speak for you real quick, and then you can cut me off. Karen and I are at weekly trash, obviously, bi-weekly recycling, and I like that Republic came down to match, and I'd love a better price on the small metal. I forget what we settled on. Was that, I forget what you guys said. That's again, you guys are using outside vendors, but a small metal would be okay. It's a small lamp, you guys would take that, correct?
I think you said 50 or something, or what number did you get?
Yeah, what was the price for a small lamp or a small? Cut that in half, so that's a 40.
Yeah, small lamp.
Well, yeah, who knows?
I mean,
but a small metal item.
A table set, I would consider a bulk item. Okay, pot glass, pot metal, whatever. Yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so I just see this 10 million, let's vote.
10 million? It's not even close to 10 million.
Well, I want the credit.
No credit here.
Karen, did I state that correctly? I don't want to speak for you, obviously.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Melissa, are we still weekly or what's our deal?
Yeah, I'm still weekly.
Well, how about this? Why don't we do weekly recycling, weekly trash, no bulk
Yeah,
at Republic's price
that's what I was
with the
gonna go with.
reduced fees that they just outlined.
Weekly trash, weekly bulk.
It's the third item down. So the 5-year is 12,649.
It's 2 million.
Well, no. You're wrong, it's not, because waste management number that we're looking at here, oh, unless you're
I'm not looking at waste
unless you're thinking
management.
Republic.
Yeah, I'm not looking at
Okay.
waste management.
All right, hold on. You are correct.
Thank you.
Won't get that a lot.
Well, it's, you know.
I mean, we've been talking about the price and the bottom line. We haven't really talked about the providers at all, as far as the differences in the providers and what they offer. Do you know what I mean? Like, I understand that half of us think the money part is very important, but when you get way down in the dollars, there's not that huge difference between the two of them. And so I feel like that's another part of this discussion is, I understand there's history with Republic and Waste Management is new. The bells and whistles that each of them offer is kind of sort of the same, but I feel like the customer service part of Waste Management seems to be a lot larger and a lot, I don't know, a lot bigger, a lot more customer friendly. I've never had any problems with trash at all. Maybe once they didn't pick up my recycling, but I know some people in town have had issues that I have not had, so I can't comment on that. So I don't know if that needs to be part of the discussion or not, or are we simply looking at dollars?
Well, no, can I go first?
Yes.
For me, mostly no, but now we have the penalties that
Right, you're right.
have before for accountability, because our recent history has been, you know, any business transition is hard. Okay, I've been part of many personally, and you know, I'm a business broker, so I've seen a lot of transitions. So when you acquire a company, there's always going to be hiccups. Did it go well? Of course it didn't. I think they would agree. They didn't want that. Why would you want that in your resume? But I don't have experience with waste management anywhere I've lived, so I can't speak to them. But I get what you're saying as far as their online services and their, you know, the other things they offer. But I'd say the majority of the town doesn't have an issue with their trash and recycling, but that's my opinion. And people have problems, they have problems. My recycling doesn't get picked up on time a lot lately, but I have 2 bins. I send an email or a text, and it's done. So
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that that's also part of our negotiations.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like, you know, the 3 of us, maybe me and Chris more, we have a bad taste in our mouth, you know, and there was a lot of unforeseen things that happened, and we got through it. They got better. The transition happened. You know, the strike didn't affect us, thank goodness. The strike has been settled. So, I mean, the unions agreed. So, I'm done.
Yeah, no, Karen, I was in the same boat, and obviously Carlo and I were here during Trash Gate scenario. And I said, I will never approve another Republic contract ever. I don't care what percentage it is, any of these scenarios. And sometimes, you know, you make decisions and then time heals everything. And, you know, I think, so that's why the penalties got put in the packet, because they were referenced previously at one of the prior meetings, the 19 new penalties. And once I saw the numbers that were listed there, I said like $100 for each house that they miss a pickup at. And if you do the C-click fixes and scale that out compared to what it was before, we start making money off trash contracts. Just please miss houses, you know what I mean? And then we have this huge surplus. But now with the 19 penalties, $100, you miss a street, that could be like $3,000. And you're not just gonna miss one street. And there's all other penalties in there, Christmas trees and all this other stuff. But like the easiest one is missing a house. And
To clarify too, Chris, they do have 24 hours to make that collection.
correct. Yeah, so they have 24 hours. That's the caveat, is they have 24 hours to still make it. So you're not, they skip your house and you run out, say, here's your $100 bill. So they do have 24 hours to make that. But compared to before, there was no hours. They were never making a pickup. It was like a week later, you know. But I wasn't in the same mindset. I was like, no way in the world. Like Fidel's hanging off the back of trash trucks back in the day. Nobody was doing this. And then it comes to budgets and everything else, and lowering services for people that expect something out of us, you know? And then you kind of start coming around, and, you know, that's why, like, when people think that their minds are made up and decisions are already made and you can't change things, and that's not really the case. Like, some things maybe, but a lot of stuff, like, you're witnessing it here. You know, nobody would have, if Republic's contract was up like 3 months after Crashgate, nobody would have said anything. But here we are a couple years later. But to Carlos, one quick thing, Jane. But to Carlos' point that the strike did happen, we were told that no pickups, that we weren't going to get missed on pickups. We're not going to lose any service. And a lot of us were like, yeah, that's not believable. You've kind of posed us in the past. Why would we believe you? Yeah. And ironically, we didn't miss anything as far as I know. So Jane had something, then I'll go to you.
I just want to say two clarifying items. The liquidated damages that we added into the new contract are comparative to the rest of the market. So they're not targeted at any particular vendor. Yeah. Just so everybody's clear that they're not targeted at our current provider or anybody else there, just commensurate with what we see in the market. And then secondarily, after we started invoking liquidated damages with Republic, we have never charged for a missed pickup because they haven't missed them. We've been tracking that, and we've tracked that with them, and that has, there have been, you know, they come back and get them the next day, and they've been on that. So to their credit, I just want to be clear.
There are onesie twosies that I've seen on Facebook mentioned, and they do see click fix it, and I have to assume that they went and picked them up after the fact.
We have to report it if it happens, yeah. But yeah, Republic's been faithful to that. Yeah.
For somebody that we shouldn't, in theory, be making. So you had a question?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the service and the work that the team has done to prepare that reputation. I mean, Jane teed it up pretty well, but you know, since the middle of last year, we've met many times. At one point, we were doing monthly meetings to talk about service, pain points. We collectively came up with a system that works where we're able to, in real time, understand where misses are being called out, identify whether that resident has not put it out, things of that nature. But I think you all have seen that service has improved tremendously. I'm very proud of the team coming together and giving you all the service that you expect. I think last month, correct me if I'm wrong, but there were, I think, a total of 30 that were picked up or were called in, missed, and were picked up by the next day. The team, the drivers themselves take a tremendous amount of pride in servicing the community of Reading and want to continue to provide that service that you become accustomed to.
Thank you.
Not you, it's just, we're still.
So are we all still at the same place that we were before?
With what? No bulk? Is that the deal, Karen?
Bi-weekly.
Or bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly.
So I think you and Carla were bi-weekly. Melissa and I were weekly still. I'm not sure how.
And then I had made that accommodation of trying to do the weekly, and then after a year, as kind of a compromise to change it.
So you're saying to do weekly recycling for 1 year, and then years 2, 3, 4, 5 to stop it and go bi-weekly.
Yes. And then I understand Carlo's point. I just feel like if we're going to try and resolve this, how can we all come to an agreement in some way to get this moving forward tonight?
2.5 years of bi-weekly. I understand. How does that sit with you, Melissa? Like, I understand. Listen, I understand that ripping the Band-Aid off now or a year from now, we're going to still get the same complaints. I understand we're buying ourselves a year and then going.
Literally buying
ourselves a year. Yeah, no,
literally.
But For what we spend money on.
I
as
know.
known, and recently, I'm having a really hard time not giving residents basic services that they have today. So I'm still sticking with weekly, and I don't want it to go
I
away.
agree with that. I don't disagree with that at all. I agree. We just spent $100-something million on a school, which we needed desperately, and $30 million on a community/senior center that who knows what's gonna happen, how that's gonna affect the budget.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. But as far as the budget goes, as far as the budget goes, it's harder for me to discount $2 million, but I agree. We've just approved pickleball, which, I obviously supported as a service to our residents. The town voted, the majority, not a huge margin, the town voted for the community center, senior center, active living center, whatever you want to call it, that I wasn't a huge fan of the dollar amount. I was a fan of doing something, but not at that price. So I totally agree with you on that. But I think if we're gonna go bi-weekly, inevitably, we do it July 1st, get the hiccups out of the way, and by fall, we'll have it figured out when everyone comes back from vacation and we start school again. I'm still favoring that.
How about this question, since Republic can make decisions? The weekly recycling is $2,289,279. I need new glasses. Are you willing to come off that number, come down a little?
Where are we?
So I'm under the weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable. The third line item under Republic is $2,289,279.
Yep.
I think last meeting we were asked best and final.
Correct. Yeah.
That's fair.
No, I understand. And waste management, same scenario. So yours is
Correct.
350, 760. Well, can't blame us for not trying.
And I still,
Can't blame you for trying, but yeah, that's our best number.
and I'm a little concerned that the 2350764 for waste management is not a true number.
Right.
Because of
Correct.
the barrel situation.
Same, yeah.
Ay.
So,
Matt.
so can I just add, so I think people watched the FinCom meeting last night, so they voted to allow us to use 6.75 million in free cash. So this would be in addition to that. So that would be over 7 million, 7.1 million. So, and I just don't, I'll have to, if we're doing it, I'll have to see if I have to go back to FinCom and ask them for more. I don't know. We had all agreed on that number, and FinCom agreed. So that's just one little wrinkle about adding the weekly at this point. Yeah,
I know it's not on our agenda, but I apologize. I could not attend or watch that meeting last night. I had a back procedure. But what is that $6 million for? Just to balance the budget?
That's, yeah. So last year it was 6 million. This year it's gone up to 6.75 million. It was even over 7 million, but we, like I explained last night, we worked it out with the schools, the superintendent. We made some cutbacks, and we wanted to keep that number well under 7. Because psychologically, I mean, it's a big number anyway, but I mean, going over 7 seemed to be a big psychological number for, people that, okay, now it's 7 million. So we kept it at 6.75. That was agreed upon, so, and that's, that was my concern. I mean, I want to provide the best service too, and I just have to look at the overall picture, so.
If we go with Republic and we have the two differences that the four of us are between, we're looking at under $300,000 difference per year. Between weekly trash, recycling, no bulk, and bi-weekly recycling, weekly trash, no bulk. That's only under $300,000 difference per year. It's like two.
I believe you. I'm just doing it.
1,872 and 2,289.
No, it's 1,996. What are you talking about?
Where are you?
Oh, I had burnt, it's less than that actually, because I did,
It's $460,000.
no, it's not.
No.
Yeah, it
No,
is.
it's not.
Weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable with Republic is 2,289.
Right.
Weekly trash, bi-weekly recycling, no on both, is 1,872.
Oh,
So what's the difference?
$416,000.
So it's 416.
what did I calculate before?
This is over the course of 5 years.
That was just year one. I wasn't
Yeah.
even doing that.
Year one is $416,000.
What the heck did I just calculate?
Free cash usage over.
Yeah, no, right, it's a big number.
Almost 7.2.
Uh,
My calculator's broken.
Well, I understand where it's to the point where I understand that we have to do things within budget, and we've been over here cutting things and trying to raise $1,000 for valet parking. At the same time, we're just going to be like, let's increase it by 400 to negate everything that we've done this whole time to try to get these numbers, down year over year. Do I think residents would critique the fact that the number would go up because we're trying to remain the same services that we had before? I think we get leeway with that on something like this, where we're trying to maintain the services that everybody expects, like how Carlo mentioned, good schools, safety, security, and you want your trash picked up, and, I want to go home and have it still be there. So, this isn't another, I don't want to say frivolous, because everyone has their niches. Not everyone's going to play pickleball, and they always get picked on. There's also softball, basketball, the fields, who knows what's happening with that. So I understand it's a careful balancing act, but on trash pickup, I think that's one of the things, the levers that we can use to accommodate residents as opposed to other things. I understand I might screw up Sharon's budgeting, but for a decision like this, I think this is one of the items. There's probably a handful of items that I would think,
And it's not just screw up Sharon's budgeting. I mean, it's just a bigger number than we expected.
Correct.
So we have to account for that. It's not that, it throws a number off and she can't deal with it. We can, but just so where we're at on it.
But like I had mentioned
If we say, let's cut our way out of it, we'd probably be cutting other services. So what's the trade-off,
So that's why I had mentioned, Jane, my reverse Carlo, Karen scenario here, where they're wanting the first year and then reducing it. I was thinking, or maybe it's the same, that, if we go to the override, we can make it the option that, trash and weekly recycling is going to be cut. It's going to be bi-weekly. And that's one of the things. Or if this override passes, it's included in this number, people can factor that in. But that is one of a driving point I could see of being the override. And then the town would actually get their vote. But for that to happen, we have to include weekly recycling and go from there. You know what I mean, Carlo?
But the problem with that is you expect 100% turnout on.
No, I understand.
No, but I'm not. I get it. This is part philosophical, part services, part budget. You as the chair and us as the board have been advocating, this free cash stuff is crazy and just getting out of control. And obviously we're adding to it if we do that. But to Melissa's point, I don't want anyone to, get uncomfortable. But it's if we were the first adopter of this, I'd have a much bigger issue with this, or the fifth adopter, but we're not. And, we always, up here, peer communities, surrounding towns, and all this other mumbo jumbo, let's worry about Reading. I only worry about Reading. Wakefield has their issues, Stoneham, Melrose, they have their issues, different forms of government. I worry about Reading. So I could debate this 8 ways till Sunday. But for me, the fact that Republic stepped up on the two items is a big one for me. And I'm fairly confident, and guess who's up for re-election? Me, that we'll adjust like all the other communities have. If my 80-plus-year-old parents can do it, I'm confident we can do it. But I'm not saying that's fair.
So I think Karen's compromise originally was doing the initial year of still being weekly recycling. What I think for our decision, if we had agreed on that during the initial year, I think to kind of sustain Melissa and I, whatever that word is, that after the first year, we're kind of approaching the override scenario anyway. And that is going to determine years 2, 3, 4, 5. It's not our decision anymore. It ends up becoming that. So at least we're getting this. And then however the override and everything else goes forward in the future, that will get determined that way. You know what I mean? Like, so if we can agree to the initial first year here, and then the override, hypothetically, if it happens next year, whatever, that's going to be the determining factor whether or not we reduce it to biweekly recycling. And if it does, so be it. We tried. We have to be responsible for the budget, but at the same time, like I said, we want the services that we've always had, and I agree, the large families or not just having the, weekly recycling, but it takes it out of our hands after year one, and then it puts it to the voters for the override. So, like, can we get all on board with that? Or, because that's where Karen was originally, compromising with the year. It's a semi-compromise because I think the override's going to drive it anyway.
But how does the override determine Melissa's points?
Because the town is going to ask for, it's going to come up to us to vote because it's going to come before us, whatever the figure ends up being. Are we going to ask for 7 million, 20 million? And in that figure, it's going to be broken down. We need this for this, this for this, this for this.
Yeah, but the override is not trash driven. No, will it be?
No, but the increase to the budget will be. And then we're going to have to vote on the increase to the budget, the number to put in front of the voters.
It's a cost savings dollar. Do you know what I mean? Like you can say, okay, we can cut back by, we're going to save 400 grand or 300 grand on trash by going to biweekly after the first year. So right now we're satisfying the needs of what people think that they need, and a year plus 8 months to kind of monitor their behavior with their trash to see what they really, really need. As far as it's up to the residents to also see realistically, what do they use and how do they do their trash? And it's too much one week, but not enough another. Do you know what I mean? So it's being mindful of how we're going to move forward after this year, 18 months. I think that's important to this behavior portion of this in trash.
It is, but it doesn't change the fact of Melissa's points, which are very good points.
There are good points, but you're right.
Well.
There are good points. But I think Jane also made a good point that there's a big part of the town that doesn't use their whole recycle bucket, doesn't need to do it every week. So, we're balancing. Families are incredibly important in Reading, and I think that we serve them very, very well. We have great schools. We're building a school, and I think that the whole town uses this benefit, but at some point, we have to make some compromises. And I know the school system is going to have to make some compromises in the next couple of years as well. So it is impacting everybody in different ways. And I think it's just one of these mindful decisions of trash is changing. Nobody likes change, but we need to change trash just in general. And it's the weight of our trash that can be reduced by all the other things that we can do. So I feel like there's other ways to bring our trash costs down as we move forward, but it's not all going to happen. And the biggest, quickest thing we can change is going from weekly recycling to every other weekly recycling. So I think override time in a year, we can say we're going to take 400 grand or 300 grand off of our trash budget, and that's going to help with the override numbers that we're going to have to determine.
Yeah,
that's what Chris was getting at, and I agree with him.
All right, this will help my decision. So based on this recent conversation, Melissa, would you be okay with that?
Yes.
Because I also think a thought that went through my head is that if we go to biweekly and then we go to the residents and ask for an override, they're going to be like, you just keep taking services away. Why am I supporting an override? So I think this way we allow the residents to have it for at least a year. And then if we have to go in front of them for an override and say, listen, this is what it's going to cost if we want to keep it. Otherwise, we're going to go to biweekly.
Yeah, but you're right. But no matter what, the override is our fault. This is all
It's
us.
well, we've already,
It is.
everybody knows, like, I know what you mean. It's
It's our
It
fault,
was-
town meeting's fault then.
Well, it's a lot of people's fault. I'm not picking any of us out or town staff. And like, Karen said, we got a couple emails like, why is this coming up so quickly? I'm like, oh, yeah, this has been in the works for a long time. So I get it. Not everyone knows how the sausage is made, unfortunately. I wish I was that person, but I'm not anymore. So I don't like this idea, but if that gets us to a vote, maybe I'll abstain.
I don't.
Another laugh by Karen. That's true tonight.
We need a bell.
Inside joke, folks. Inside joke.
Easy button.
Inside joke.
So I understand. We have to be mindful of our money. I agree. Everyone's going to do whatever. Like that's kind of the reason that I've been having on the agenda items ways to cut back and do things. Each thing. I don't think there's. I wanted to go into the override, not just the finance committee running their whole show that they do. I wanted it to know that the select board was actively involved in it too, as is town staff. Matt's found some great stuff. Chief Nelson found some stuff. Like, where we are mindful of the money, a lot of people won't believe that. A lot of people will believe it if it's coming from Karen and not from me, which is fine. We're all up here trying to do, what's best for everybody. We've had a great conversation on this. Nobody's getting thrown under the bus with anything. I know in the future someone probably will be, and it's unfortunate, but listen, we got to make a decision. Not everyone wins, not everyone loses. So that's kind of where, we'll let somewhat the voters decide going forward in the override scenario. Or not. Maybe we get a windfall from somebody who wants to donate money to the town to keep this going. I don't know. But so we got weekly trash, weekly recycling with no burnable, no bulk. Is that where we're at?
For 1 year, right?
Well,
5-year contract.
It's a 5-year contract, but we can't scale back the recycling, is what Republic had said. That if we want to exit, they would prefer that we did it this way instead of the opposite direction, because that's a year lead time.
Make sure that language is in.
Carla,
How much notice would you need? How much notice would you need to notify you that we're going to biweekly? Not,
The first year, we just need time for the residents to understand and us to rebound, so it's not that significant.
okay.
Whatever time we need, it's communication to the residents.
For us, you guys will.
Yeah,
It's better for you. Right?
help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I'm okay with compromise. I don't like it, but I get it. And, let's make a motion.
Do we want to, someone has their hand raised in the public. Do we want to address that now? Or Taylor Gregory has had her hand up for a while?
I kind of already went over the public comment, but I guess since it's 9:09, we can go with 2 minutes name and address because it's.
Thank you, Taylor Gregory, Pleasant Street. I just wanted to say that I would support moving to the bi-weekly. I understand wanting to do it sooner rather than later, but I think it would be more beneficial for us to have it in to start with. I agree with the compromise. I don't really care about service provider. I don't have a preference there. But thank you for all the work that you guys have done on this. Thank you to town staff for all the work that they've done on this. I know how much it's been, how much you guys have been paying attention to the budget. So really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Taylor.
I did tell my wife it was a half-hour meeting. I was wrong again. All right, so we're kind of under the general understanding of at least another year of weekly trash, weekly recycling, and see where things go beyond that. and that can, Matt can bring it back to the board, or he can do it within his purview to see where we're at. But obviously, a hypothetical override would drive that decision regardless. So nobody likes it. Nobody, I understand. Like, listen, can't fault us for hashing it out for 2 hours tonight compared to all the other times we've done it.
No, I think we resolved a lot tonight, and I appreciate you guys being here and Ed being here. And if you guys weren't here, this would make it much more difficult and would be flying in the wind. So just like when any resident comes for an application or an approval, coming in person means a lot for me anyway. And that, and like Chris said earlier, if we were voting on you guys 3 months after Trashgate, it wouldn't even be a thought. But I appreciate the coming back to us, because you didn't have to, So I think I'm not going to be happy with the vote tonight, but I understand it and I will respect it. And come a year from now, not a year and a half from now, we'll start talking about it and we'll see where we're at. But I really don't want to be on a year. I know it's like to see what happens, but I think it has to be a year, and then we pull the lever, regardless, because I don't see it getting better unless we get money.
But we can revisit it at that time anyway, or like I said, the override can determine it.
I'm
I
ready.
guess the only other one catch thing too, Chris, we can still have one or two, so like spring cleanup and fall cleanup, we can do a bulky item to negate some of these extra additional costs that people are going to pay.
Yeah.
So we did get the items themselves reduced, but like we can still do something like that.
Yeah, we can look into this.
And that's no cost to residents. I understand we eat the cost, but it's not something crazy. So, all right. So it's looking like we're at weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable bulky, no metal item with Republic Services.
With burnable bulky item at $30 and small metal item
at 40.
At 40 at no more than 5%, guys, is that fair?
Per year.
Right? Because
It was 5% on burnable, but market on the other stuff, because that's handled by an outside vendor.
I think the small metal, we agreed on 5%. Yeah.
And everything else is market.
Yep.
Yep.
It was 5% on the
5%.
small burnable bulk.
Mhm.
Is it also 5% on the small metal? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Karen, did you want to make that motion? Did you write it down or you want me to do it again?
So moved.
Well, yeah, we added more color to this, so Karen, I think, has to do an official.
Well, can I just say as presented today, as it says, and you all have the details, or do you want me to put the details?
No, I would say weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable, no metal, with Republic Services, with a, for $2,289,279 per year, with a 5% increase. With burnable bulky being $30 and small metal items being $40, with both 5% increases. And the rest is market. Rest is 5%, right?
No market.
No, market? Okay, market.
Market.
Okay.
Republic.
All right, let me give it a try. Move to approve trash and recycling contract with Republic Services for a term of 5 years as presented today for $2,289,000. Sorry.
I did the same thing.
$2,289,279 with burnable bulk, weekly trash, weekly recycling, no burnable bulky item, no metal item, with a burnable bulky item at $30 and a small metal item at $40 with a 5% increase per year.
Second.
Second by Melissa.
I would just add to authorize the town manager to sit.
Yes, and to authorize the town manager to execute said contract.
Second.
Yep. All right, so seconded by Melissa on that. Any discussion? Carla?
No discussion, but do we need to add a friendly amendment that in year 2, we can go to biweekly? Do we need to add that in language?
You could put it in the motion. We work it out in.
Any year you want to do it, Murphy. Yeah, any year.
Okay,
Any year.
I think,
Work it out in the contract.
okay.
I was just saying, put it in the contract more than the motion.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right, so that's why I'm that
It's gotta
clear.
be in the contract. They've
I know we
agreed to
do
it.
that.
We're on tape. So.
I'll untake that back.
Mhm.
Take that back.
All right, are we ready for the vote?
Yep.
Karen Rose Gillis,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
Carlo,
Yes.
and Chris, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Ed, at Waste Management and Republic as well.
So we'll issue a notice of intent tomorrow to Republic. Thank you. Republic Services tomorrow.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Melissa, no discussion. Karen Rose Gillis,
Yes.
Carlo,
Yes.
Melissa,
Yes.
and Chris, yes. Thank you.